Hi, Internet. It's Emily SW.
Sam.
And we're here with another Podcastle episode 9. We are in a slightly different. We are in an entirely different recording space, so if it sounds different, that's why. But it shouldn't sound too different, because we've got the same microphone and stuff.
I hope not.
Got a short one today. We're going to read a very short story by one Virginia Woolf. The story is called A Haunted House. Okay, so this is a haunted house. It was written in 1921, according to my book here. Whatever hour you woke, there was a door shutting. From room to room they went, hand in hand, lifting here, opening there, making sure, a ghostly couple. Here we left it, she said, and he added, oh, but here too. It's upstairs, she murmured. And in the garden, he whispered. Quietly, they said, or we shall wake them. But it wasn't that you woke us. Oh no. They're looking for it. They're drawing the curtain, one might say. And so read on a page to 2. Now they've found it, one would be certain, stopping the pencil on the margin. And then, tired of reading, one might rise and see for oneself, the house all empty, the doors standing open, only the wood pigeons bubbling with content, and the hum of the threshing machine sounding from the farm. What did I come in here for? What did I want to find? My hands were empty. Perhaps it's upstairs then. The apples were in the loft. And so down again, the garden still as ever, only the book had slipped into the grass. But they had found it in the drawing room. Not that one could ever see them. The window panes reflected apples, reflected roses. All the leaves were green in the glass. If they moved in the drawing room, the apple only turned its yellow side. Yet, the moment after, if the door was opened, spread about the floor, hung upon the walls, pendant from the ceiling, what? My hands were empty. The shadow of a thrush crossed the carpet. From the deepest wells of silence the wood pigeon drew its bubble of sound. Safe, 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 the pulse of the house beat softly. The treasure buried, the room. The pulse stopped short. Oh, was that the buried treasure? A moment later the light had faded. Out in the garden, then. But the trees spun darkness for a wandering beam of sun. So fine, so rare, coolly sunk beneath the surface, the beam I sought always burnt behind the glass. Death was the glass. Death was between us, coming to the woman first, hundreds of years ago, leaving the house, sealing all the windows. The rooms were darkened. He left it, left her, went north, went east, saw the stars turned in the southern sky, sought the house, found it dropped beneath the downs. Safe, safe, safe. The pulse of the house beat gladly. The treasure yours. The wind roars up the avenue. Trees stoop and bend this way and that. Moonbeams splash and spill wildly in the rain. But the beam of the lamp falls straight from the window. The candle burns stiff and still. Wandering through the house, opening the windows, whispering not to wake us, the ghostly couple seek their joy. Here we slept, she says, and he adds, kisses without number. Waking in the morning, silver between the trees, upstairs, in the garden, when summer came, in winter snow time. The doors go shutting far in the distance, gently knocking like the pulse of a heart. Nearer they come, cease at the doorway. The wind falls, the rain slides silver down the glass. Our eyes darken. We hear no steps beside us. We see no lady spread her ghostly cloak. His hands shield the lantern. Look, he breathes, sound asleep, love upon their lips. Stooping, holding their silver lamp above us. Long they look, and deeply. Long they pause. The wind drives straightly. The flames stoop slightly. Wild beams of moonlight cross both floor and wall, and, meeting, stay in the faces bent. The faces pondering. The faces that search the sleepers and seek their hidden joy. Safe, safe, safe. The heart of the house beats proudly. Long years, he sighs. Again you found me. Here, she murmurs, sleeping, in the garden reading, laughing, rolling apples in the loft. Here we left our treasure. Stooping, their light lifts the lids upon my eyes. Safe, safe, safe. The pulse of the house beats wildly. Waking, I cry, oh, is this your buried treasure? The light in the heart. The end.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
This is what was kind of difficult to decipher without actually seeing the text.
The dialogue.
Yeah, you have the narrator, who's the person speaking in the first person for much of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than one person living in this house.
Yes.
It wasn't that you woke us, but there's only one person outside of the man and the woman talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the actual dialogue, which is between this ghostly couple. So that was where, like, without actually being able to see, like, the dialogue tags and how it actually...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when it's like, you know, there's no dialogue tag for the, like, narrator, the living person.
Yeah. Except for
until the very end, when they wake up.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I didn't even think of that. Should have done voices.
It also starts off in the second person here. Whatever hour you woke, there was a door shutting.
Yeah.
From room to room, they went hand in hand. So there's a ghost couple in the house.
Yes.
So at first it starts off with the author talking to us, but then it ends in the first person. With the person narrating the story.
Yes. Yeah, she breaks a cardinal rule of writing there.
You ever notice, I mean, I'm sure you have, but in classic writing, they pretty much did everything that modern literature says not to do.
Well, I guess it's kind of like you gotta learn how to play the game before you can break whatever the saying is.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta learn how to do it right in order to start bending things around.
I also don't think there were rules back in the 1800s and, like, the early 20th century.
It was the best times, it was the worst of times. Although even that long, redundant paragraph serves a purpose, stylistically.
I just kind of feel like publishers nowadays rely too much on formulas.
There are still quote-unquote literary fiction books, like books that are written with the purpose of being beautiful prose and having that deeper meaning, but those books don't become the TikTok viral fame kind of make an author a millionaire kind of books. Those are the kind of books that get you notoriety in, like, the circle of other writers or, you know, readers or academia, right?
Right.
Well, and even, we talked about this briefly earlier, spoiler alert for an upcoming episode, but we're reading some Louisa May Alcott horror stories, and I even remarked upon this earlier, like, literally she wrote those stories to make money. Louisa May Alcott was making bank off these stories. She was making, like, $50 a story, $50 to $100 a story. Which, she found a spring. If you hear any rattling in the background, my cat has a spring on the hardwoods. And she's making a mess. She wrote those stories to pay the bills, essentially. Because her father was... Well, we'll get into it in her episode, because her backstory is also fascinating to me. Back to the story, then. I wanted to read this story and talk about it because it's called A Haunted House. It's a ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
It is about a haunted house. But it's a very nice, warm, fuzzy haunted house. Like, it's a very pleasant experience. It's all about love and warmth and...
That's kind of what I thought. That's what the treasure is, right?
Yes.
It's love.
It's love. The treasure is love, yeah. Real Sailor Moon ghost house.
And that's what, like, lingers in this house.
It's just very nice. And, you know, reading what we read and talking about what we talk about, sometimes the themes are not so nice. Most of the time, the themes are not so nice.
No, we don't usually talk about... This is the best kind of love story, though.
Mm-hmm. Being ghosts together.
Yeah, where there are ghosts haunting a house.
And they're not even mean ghosts. They're just walking around, opening doors, shutting doors, looking into your face while you sleep.
That might be a little creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a little much. And, like, you get this sense, too, that some of this dialogue, the narrator, the person in the house, is, like, catching. Because at the end of the story, the narrator goes, oh, this is your treasure. So you can surmise they at least heard something about a treasure. Which is also very reminiscent of anyone who's been in a house by themselves, and the house is older than 50 years old. Makes noises, it creaks, it settles.
They're also kind of, like, looking over the people in the house now.
Mm-hmm. They're like friendly house ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I read this story for a class in college. The story is, I mean, it's short. It's very short. But it's so straightforward, I didn't even mark it up at all. Like, I didn't highlight anything. I didn't make any notes. It's just a lovely story. It's effective. You know, she does in, like, a page and a quarter in the book that I have. She establishes character, setting. It's not really a plot, per se. I mean, you could say the treasure is the plot, I guess. But it's like a complete image.
It doesn't need a plot, though, because you know what it does have? Vibes.
That's true. That's true. Number 1 rule in Gothic. No plot, just vibes.
Number 2 rule is you have to reference Shakespeare somewhere.
Yes. That's true. That's very true. The bard does come up, doesn't he?
Yes. In the most unexpected of places.
I mean, considering he basically created the archetypes that we use in a lot of modern day film and media, like, kind of makes sense. He's been influencing everything since he did or did not write his plays. We don't have to get into it, but I love the Shakespeare conspiracy theories of, like, oh, he didn't write them, blah, 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 and, like, I don't know, I don't really care either way.
It doesn't matter, because it's, like, the idea of Shakespeare has transcended the man.
Yes. It's, like, it ties into death of the author.
Do you have any insight on the author of this story, Virginia Woolf?
Not particularly.
I also had to read one of her stories, and it was AP English class.
Yeah, she's more known for her novels.
I don't remember which one it was.
She's got a few very important ones. I actually haven't read any of her novels. I've only read her short fiction.
Well, that's it. This was a pretty straightforward story. I don't have anything else to say.
No, I mean, this will be a nice, short, easy episode.
Yeah.
So yes, that was A Haunted House by Virginia Woolf. Hopefully you enjoyed this little story time. It's kind of like our Poe readings. Just quick, easy breezy. Less rhyming.
There was, like, a poetic quality about it, especially with, like, the repeated words.
And the repetition and the safe. The pulse of the heart. Beautiful story. 10 out of 10. Hopefully you enjoyed our reading and our banter. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.